Finish training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honey Bee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. 31 Days of Horror. Mars Needs Movies. That's right, this Halloween season we are looking at movies about alien invasions, incursions, infiltrations, and visitations. And my guest today is Sean Pryor, author of Kaiju Unleashed, among other things. Welcome back to the show, Sean.
Oh, thank you, Dominic. I appreciate it. It's good to be back.
And our movie today is The Thing from Another World. It is from 1951.
Yes.
Based on Who Goes There, the 1938 novella by John W. Campbell Jr. It is in black and white. In English, it's 87 minutes. The box office was $1.95 million. I don't have a budget, but Wikipedia tells me it was the highest profiting science fiction movie of the year, beating out The Day the Earth Stood Still and When Worlds Collide. So,
Interesting.
It probably made back its money. So, Sean, I gave you a whole list of movies, and you chose this one. Why did you choose this one?
Okay. I chose this film because, one,
Folks, we had a little glitch here, but Sean said one reason he chose this film was because he had never seen it.
upon just reading some notes about it, I was like, oh, okay, because I'm familiar with John Carpenter's The Thing. Find that movie to be extremely creepy and extremely frightening, so I don't really want to watch it. But I was like, okay, so it's like The Thing from Another World, that came first. Carpenter's The Thing is a remake, so I was like, oh, okay, so let me just check out the original and see what's different.
Yeah.
And it was more curiosity than anything else. Plus the fact that you get James Arness, who most of us have known from, people our age have known from Gunsmoke, as the alien or as the Thing per se. So those are some reasons. Yes.
Okay. I wouldn't even call the Carpenter version a remake. I would say it's a new adaptation in that it goes back to the original short story. It's not based on this movie. It's based on the novella that they are both based on. So, and yes, folks, in case you didn't know, this is the first of 3 movies to be based on this novella. And there is reports of a 4th one being made based on the longer version. A few years ago, while a guy was researching a biography on John W. Campbell, he came across a longer, earlier version of this called Frozen Hell in the archives at Harvard University. And there was a Kickstarter to publish that. And there have since been not only that, but the people behind that have published a collection of short stories and sequels and things, all based on Frozen Hell. And supposedly Blumhouse is working on a new version, and they are using Frozen Hell as the basis. But it's really the same story. It's just the first 3 chapters are cut off. I think Campbell had a general rule that he got from somebody else, that if you're having trouble with the beginning of the story, it's because you're starting in the wrong place and you need to start later in the story. But the Frozen Hell version does have more details and a little more character development, and it's just also interesting to have this other version of one of the most famous science fiction horror stories ever written.
Yeah. And there's always that producer that thinks, well, the original was a cult classic, but it was financially very profitable for its time. The second one was critically and commercially panned at first, then became a cult classic. And then you had the third one that came out in the 2000s, which wasn't critically acclaimed, wasn't critically disposed, but it was just there. And so there's always going to be that producer that's like, hey, I can turn this into like a $500 million earning blockbuster. I can do that. So, and plus, because we're in late stage capitalism, it's IPs over original ideas. So eventually, we're going to get that fourth version of The Thing, even if it has a different title. But with like Blumhouse, it's a thing of, okay, we'll do it cheap. And because that's their whole motto, do films cheap, try to get profit, take that money, make more stuff. And so I'll be curious to see how it goes. But I really, really enjoyed The Thing from Another World sequence. To see, once again, this is where like it kind of all clicked. Like the opening title sequence with the burning letters, I was like, oh, okay. So Carpenter paid tribute to Hawks and Navy for the original film, and like I had no idea, but as soon as I saw that, it all clicked, and I was like, okay, I know what to expect. Let's get ready. And the one thing that got me, because like there's always that controversy of who directed this film. Was it Howard Hawks or was it Christian Nyby? But the thing is, if you watch the movie, the camera barely moves. The only time the camera moves is when the plane is landing and like the camera just tilts as the plane continues to just, coast along the surface. The camera barely, if ever, moves in this movie. It kind of makes it like it's a television pilot in some ways because of the way it's filmed. And no disrespect to Howard Hawks, I know he's a legend. But the thing is that, and there are no major close-up shots either. Like the camera is always for the most part pulled back. The only time the camera's close is when they're all in the plane together and they're in the front of the cockpit sipping on coffee. The camera's close because it has no choice, because that's a really cramped space. So these folks feel trapped. Folks are trapped by the thing. The camera's pulled back. So like it's this weird version of claustrophobia, but it's not claustrophobic, but you're not alone. But something just feels weird. And the dialogue, and let's see here, Nikki, and I always get these names incorrect, so I always make sure I have my notes. The interactions between Nikki and Captain Patrick Henry, played by Margaret Sheridan and Kenneth Tobey, I love that. I enjoyed that so much. Like, they had fantastic chemistry. They kept the film moving for me. Like, I enjoyed all the characters in this movie.
Speaking of, let's do our cast before we go any further. As you said, Margaret Sheridan as Nikki Nicholson and Kenneth Tobey as Captain Patrick Henry. Robert Cornthwaite as Dr. Arthur Carrington. Douglas Spencer as Ned Scotty Scott. James Young as Lieutenant Eddie Dykes. Dewey Martin as Bob, the crew chief. Robert Nichols as Lieutenant Ken Mac McPherson. William Self as Corporal Barnes. Edward Franz as Dr. Stearns. Sally Crichton as Mrs. Chapman. James Arness as The Thing. And then we have a bunch that were uncredited, and I'm not happy about that, because the first of those is Paul Frees as Dr. Voorhees. This is the second movie this season, and more than second, that have featured Paul Frees. He has a small you know him. You don't know him, but you know him. He's more famous for his voice work, but he is also a reporter in War of the Worlds. And a number of the movies we've talked about, including the first American version of Godzilla. He's a voice on the radio or something like that. John Dirks as Dr. Chapman, George Fenneman as Dr. Redding, Everett Glass as Dr. Wilson, Edmund Breon as Dr. Ambrose, Norbert Schiller as Dr. Lawrence, Nicholas Byron as Tex Richards, David McMahon as Brigadier General Fogarty, Robert Stevenson as Captain Smith, Bill Neff as Bill Stone, and Lee Tung Fu as Lee the Cook. I don't think I remember Lee the Cook.
Every story you love, every invention that moves you, every idea you wished was yours, all began as nothing. Just a blank page with a blinking cursor, asking a simple question. What do you see? Great ideas start on Mac. Find out more on apple.com/Mac.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, I don't remember Lee the Cook either. Like because I don't recall them ever being in the kitchen.
Yeah, maybe
or like the dining hall.
Maybe he got cut.
Okay.
So going back to Paul Frees as Dr. Voorhees, AI is still dumb and crap, because there is a connection between this movie and the Friday the 13th series. But
really?
when you do a Google search these days, the first thing is AI overview.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI could not make this connection, in spite of the fact that each franchise has a character named named Voorhees.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the most obvious thing. Oh, was Jason Voorhees named after this character? Who knows? Or is it a coincidence? But it's a connection.
Yes.
In Jason Goes to Hell, Jason is revealed to actually be a parasite, presumably of alien origin, that goes from body to body. And in the basement of the Voorhees house, there is a crate that says Arctic Expedition. What is her name? Carpenter. Somebody Carpenter. This is also a reference to another thing.
Okay.
I got to look it up again quick. Julia. Arctic Expedition, Julia Carpenter, Horlicks University. In the Creep Show segment, The Crate, it starts with a crate that is labeled similarly, but the opposite. It says, shipped to Horlick University, care of Julia Carpenter, Arctic Expedition. And there's a monster in that crate. So there's an implication that this parasite originally, nobody explicitly states it, but there's an implication that the parasite came from that crate originally and possessed Jason way back. And the name Julia Carpenter is probably not a coincidence, since John Carpenter had just recently directed his version of the thing. So there you go. And of course, there's been, apart from 3, possibly 4 movies, there's also been comic books, and as I said, a bunch of short stories and various movies that have been inspired by this.
And there's also been a video game or 2 as well.
Yes. I don't think I've actually played any of those.
There was one, I know for a fact that there was one that coincided with the 2000s version of the thing, and it's supposed and it's literally supposed to play as a prequel, so like you could play the game before you watch the movie, because it adds a bunch of extra material to the film. So I recall them talking about that.
It's a prequel to the prequel?
It's a prequel to the prequel. Yes.
Another spin-off, I guess you might call it. There's a movie called Harbinger Down that I have not seen, but I was just, reading about it. It is apparently because Alec Gillis, who worked on the effects for the 2000 version of the thing, or 2011 version of the thing, was upset that some of his special effects were replaced by CGI.
Oh.
So he directed this movie Harbinger Down, I guess, to just show off his special effects. So now I got to go watch that movie.
Okay. Oh, I'm looking at the cast right now. It's got Lance Hendrickson, and so I'm like, okay, we got an alien cast member up in here. All right, bet.
Yeah. And in regards to the 2011 version, it's well done. I feel it's kind of unnecessary, similar to Rogue One, which I felt was completely unnecessary. But I thought they did a really good job of matching, because it's made in 2011, not in 1980, whatever. But they're trying to match it to a film made in the 80s. And they did a really good job in that regard. And of matching the last scene of that movie to the first scene of the other movie. So I think technically they did a good job. But, why are you showing me this thing that's almost exactly like the other thing and is going to end up where the other thing started? You're not moving the story forward at all. And you're telling me a thing that I basically already know. We already know that other outpost got wiped out, and that the thing then moved on to another outpost. So why are you telling me this? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't need a movie about how Peter Lorre gets the letters of transit at the beginning of Casablanca.
Understandable. Understandable. But what did you like? Have you ever seen this movie before? Was this the first time you ever watched it, or?
I had seen it before, and I even rewatched a little bit of it today. Well, there's a lot of changes they make. I don't think any of the characters have the same name from the source material. They moved it from the Antarctic to the Arctic.
Yes. They
put a couple of ladies in there. I think even in the original story, an editor told him he needed to put in a female character, but he couldn't figure out a way. He couldn't figure out a way, considering the time period, for there to be a female in this Antarctic research station. And even just a few decades later, in the 50s, it's more likely that they would be there. So, and of course, the nature of the alien is completely different. They took him from a shape-shifting thing that can imitate anything, really, including people, and remove the whole "which one of us has been infected" aspect of it. And they basically turned him into Frankenstein's monster.
Yes, with very sharp fingernails. Yes.
Yes. But this could very easily have just been a sequel to Frankenstein, because he ends up frozen in the Arctic, presumably frozen in the Arctic at the end of. He ends up stranded in the Arctic at the monster at the end of the novel. So you could certainly have a movie where he gets thawed out and then just tears shit up. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, granted, in this one they fried him to a crisp. They fried him to a crisp.
I did appreciate the practical effects of just setting everything on fire.
Yes.
And I don't know how many of those, if there were any extras or stunt doubles involved, or if all those actors were just in that burning room. I couldn't really tell. I'm guessing the lady was not behind that cushion.
Oh no, not at first. Not at first. Like they made sure she was nowhere near that. But then there is a shot of the monster on fire slashing at the big pillow that Nikki has. But yeah. At first,
that's what I mean.
First you can't tell, but then it's like, okay, there she is.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if the actress herself was actually behind that pillow, but I'm guessing that she was not.
And supposedly that's the first time they've ever done a fire stunt like that with the actually having set somebody on fire. That's one of the first times in cinematic history. Yeah.
Interesting. In my mind, there's a scene in this film that is not in this film, and maybe it's from the other version. I don't know. I don't know where I got it. You know those planks of wood they have in the hallways?
Yes.
I have this image in my mind of something burrowing under those planks of wood and making them pop up as it runs along. But it must be from some other movie, because that does not happen in this one.
Yeah, that's definitely from another film. The thing is, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I can see it, but I can't picture it out.
And I've seen similar images, like in the American Godzilla. It's a similar the monster comes under the dock and causes all the boards on the dock to
Yes.
go popping up. But I'm sure I've seen that in some other movie before that, but who knows?
Oh my goodness.
Who knows? So I mean, this movie, I think the main reason they changed the nature of the creatures was just practical. They probably just couldn't imagine how to do that effect of making it change shape.
No, and I don't think it would have came off well. Even if they tried, because you probably, like, as far as the shape shifting and stuff like that goes, you probably just would have had some like really bizarre crossfades, because like a lot of times back then when they would try to do transformations outside of the, stop motion animation and stuff like that, really the only camera trick would probably be, okay, well, have this person stand right there and then we'll stop, bring the other person in, film them, let's crossfade it.
Yeah.
Okay, go. Because that would have been the easiest thing to do, but I also at the same time I don't think it would have had that same effect of, oh crap, here's this lumbering monster that wants to kill us all, but it's made out of vegetables, but it uses blood. It uses blood in order to continue to grow and survive. Although I will say, I was not expecting the scene with the Thing fighting the dogs, and once again the camera's pulled back. And you see, and I know it's not a real dog that he's killing, but he picks up a dog and just like slams it directly on the hard ground and the ice, and I was just like, whoa. I was like, okay. I was that kind of like, it kind of shook me a bit, because I did not expect that from a film made in 1951, and like this man and this thing killed some dogs, so like I wanted to turn into John Wick for a moment, but yeah, like I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, that was a well done bit.
Yes.
Let's see, anything else you want to mention before we wrap it up here?
The Geiger counters, being used as a way to make the audience tense up, and it reminded me of James Cameron's Aliens.
I had that same thought.
Okay, you got me. Okay, cool. Where like the aliens are creeping, they're getting closer and closer, and like and the little meter just keeps it, like that's what that reminded me of, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like this movie does a lot of really really great things, and like it closes. There aren't really many loopholes or things that are like, oh, don't worry about that. We talked about it, but that's not an important plot point. Like they literally close up everything. Like Scott was supposed to take a picture, and when he finally had a chance to take a picture, he fainted. I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was absolutely great. But he gets the closing. He gets the the closing lines. Like the Fox Mulder, look to the skies. And
that's what I've been using as my tagline for this series is keep watching the skies. Although this ship may have crashed several million years ago, so I'm not sure if we need to keep watching the skies. Maybe keep watching the Arctic and Antarctic and watch where you dig. We've had several movies over the course of this podcast where something frozen is dug up and then allowed to thaw out, and that's always a mistake.
Never do that. And plus, when they blew up the spaceship, I did laugh. I did laugh, because I was just like, this isn't going to work, guys. You guys are just putting a ton of explosions, just a ton of explosives on top of some ice. I'm like, oh yeah, this thing's toast. It's absolute toast. And I laughed so hard. I was like, okay, I know this isn't a comedy, but you're giving me comedy right now. But no, like this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I love watching black and white films. I know there's a colorized version of this. Kind of like one of those like Turner Classic type deals. I would never want to look at that.
Yep. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Folks, if you haven't seen it yet, it is on Zumo Play and Tubi for free. And of course, it's available to rent or to buy on all the other places where you rent and buy things. So yeah, if you've never seen it, I recommend watching it. It's definitely worth it. But then maybe go watch the John Carpenter version, or even read one of the two original versions that's out there now, Frozen Hell or Who Goes There. God, what did I used to have a book. It was called real fiction, I think. Real something, but real like REEL. And it was a collection of things that had been turned into science fiction movies. So it had this in there, and it had the thing that The Day the Earth Stood Still, the story that
Cool.
was based on, and a couple other things like that. But you can find it on Kindle and Audible and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. Well, Sean, thanks for joining me today. We've got links to Sean's stuff in our show notes. Go check out his books. We'll be back tomorrow with another in our 31 Days of Horror. Until then, I have been your host, Precious D. My guest today has been Sean Pryor.
Thank you again, Dominic, for having me.
You are welcome. Remember to keep watching the skies. We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.